Hey guys, welcome back to BellaVet. Today I wanted to talk to you all about a question that I get asked most frequently, and that is, what can I do in high school to prepare for vet school? And that can be a really hard question to answer because there is so much time in between high school and vet school, and there's college in the middle. It can get really confusing. Don't worry, there are plenty of things you can do in high school to prepare yourself for vet school. Okay, so the first tip I have for you guys today is to start getting experience hours. And for those of you who don't know, in order to get into vet school, you have to have a lot of experience hours, either hours just with animals or hours under the supervision of a veterinarian. I had about 600 hours when I applied to vet school, and if you want to hear more about this in a lot finer detail, go check out my How to Get into Vet School video. But yeah, high school is the perfect time to start getting hours, and if you have hours already, that's great. And if you're someone who's watching this and you're already in college and you're just starting to get hours, that's fine. There's plenty of time for you, but high school is really a great time to start. And that's because high school age is usually about the youngest that veterinarians will allow you into their clinics. And sometimes it can be hard to get into a clinic or to make that first step or to make that first connection. And one of my favorite tips for this is to call up a clinic and just ask if you can shadow their veterinarian for a day, because that's really low commitment on their end and you get your foot in the door. And once you do get to meet them, and after you've shadowed for the day, you know, maybe ask, hey, if you guys have a really cool surgery going on, can I come in and shadow that day? Can you call me up? And then maybe once that happens, you can ask them, hey, is there a day of the week that, you know, you could use an extra set of hands? Can I come in and volunteer maybe one day a week? And, you know, once they get to know you, once they see your face a lot, if a job opportunity in that clinic does arise, then you might be the first person that they think of. Also, be sure to get a variety of hours, because not only do you need that to get into vet school, but now is your time to explore. And even if you know you're going to be a horse veterinarian, you know, spend some time milking some cows or wrangling an angry cat, because you're going to learn a lot and you'll either change your mind about what you want to do, or it'll really solidify that you don't want to do those things. So my next tip is to find veterinary mentors. And what I mean by that is you want to find people who can show you what being a veterinarian is actually like, and you can kind of decide for yourself, is this the lifestyle that I want? Also, one day you're going to need to ask people for letters of recommendation, and the majority of the people that I asked for letters of recommendation I met when I was in high school. And so these relationships are really important, and you want to make sure you keep up with them. And a little trick that I used when I was in high school and I was volunteering, and even when I was in college and I was volunteering, is after a summer with a certain clinic, I would come in and I would have handwritten thank you notes for everyone, and I would also bring in cupcakes. Okay, so my next tip is if your high school or community college offers an anatomy class, take it. Even if it's a human anatomy class, you're probably going to be dissecting a cat anyway. And it's just really good to get your first dissection experience out of the way and to be exposed to all of the nomenclature. Okay, so some of you might roll your eyes at this next tip, but it is to take Latin. And it's something that I never did, but I honestly wish I did. I grew up and some of my friends had taken Latin, and it just seemed like a really pointless language to learn, but it's really helpful if you want to go into the medical field, because some of my classmates in vet school took Latin when they were younger, and they already knew all the prefixes and suffixes of all of the anatomy terms that we learned, because it really is like learning a new language, and that language is based in Latin. And, you know, it was such an eye-opening experience when I learned that, oh, the name of this muscle means like the shoulder to neck muscle or the shoulder to chest muscle, like omobrachialis, shoulder to arm. And, you know, the day that I learned that omo meant shoulder, it was just a whole new world. So just understanding those prefixes and suffixes can make it sound a lot more like English, and it can help those terms get into your head quite a bit faster. You guys probably already know this already, but try to get good grades in high school, because that can help you get into a good college. And if you're looking at a 4-year college, look for one that has a vet school attached to it, because then you know that they're going to have really good pre-vet advisors, and they're going to have probably a pre-vet club or something. And if you're looking more at the community college route, that's a great route. A lot of my friends did it. And you just have to make sure that they're really good with transfers so that you're not wasting money taking classes that won't transfer to a four-year college when you go there. Okay, so my next tip is a big one, and that is please don't be too hard on yourself. Vet students are perfectionists, and a bunch of you guys are probably going to get into vet school, which means you're probably already perfectionists. If you mess up a class or semester, it's okay. There's plenty of time between now and vet school where you can make that up and you can turn it around. One big thing that I really want to get across to you guys is please don't feel like you aren't smart or you aren't talented enough for this. I really don't like the word smart, and if you look into the comments of my videos, you'll see that I go on and on about this. And I really think the only way to sum it up is to tell you a story about my college orientation. And during orientation, we had this big Q&A with the RAs, and you could ask them anything, and this kid got up and he asked the RAs, so how talented do I have to be to do well in these classes? And this one RA raised her hand and took the mic, and she said, it doesn't matter how talented you are because hard work will always beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. And that really stuck with me, and the whole auditorium applauded her. And that really is the case of you don't have to be a genius or even the smartest person in the room to be able to get here, because trust me, I wasn't. I never really thought that I was one of the super smart kids because I had to work really hard for my grades, and you just have to be willing to put your goals first and to put the hours in. And this is a little bit more for college, but it does pop up in high school too, and that is in order to get these good grades and in order to put the hours in, sometimes that means saying no to things that you want to do because you have to say yes to your studies. And don't worry, this doesn't happen all the time and you can still have a lot of fun, but when it does happen, please make sure that you don't let other people make you feel guilty or uncool because you have to say no to something. I remember this one time in college that we were throwing a tailgate and it was really fun, but I had an exam that next Monday, and so I could only go to the tailgate and I couldn't go to the game. And I was amazed by, it wasn't even my friends that were pressuring me or making me feel guilty. It was my friends' parents, and they were kind of reliving their college days, and they were like, no, you're a college kid, forget about school, you have to go. And I was just sitting there being like, you guys are supposed to be the ones supporting me. You guys are supposed to be the ones telling me to, like, do well in school. And at least that's what, I remember my parents saying, and these were other adults, and it just felt so strange, and I didn't feel like pressured by them exactly, but I just felt really shocked that they were the ones who were making me feel guilty about doing well in school. And it was just the strangest thing. So if that happens to you, just say nope, I'm gonna ignore it, going to just block it all out, because if they try to make you feel uncool for staying in and studying when you have to, just remember that it's going to feel really cool when you put on that white coat. So my next tip is on the ACT, and the ACT sucks. It just does. There's no way around it, but you have to take it, and don't worry if you don't do super well on it, you can still get into vet school one day. It is totally doable. And I got a 21 the first time I took it, I got a 22 the second time I took it, I got a 23 the third time I took it, and then I said screw the ACT, I'm not doing this again. I needed a 26 to feel comfortable about getting into the school that I wanted to get into, so I took the SAT. And if the ACT just isn't working for you, I strongly recommend taking the SAT. There's just more time per question, all of the questions are in smaller sets, and to me it just worked better with my brain. And when I took it, there's a penalty for guessing. So if you didn't answer a question, if you didn't fill the bubble in, you got a 0, but if you answered it incorrectly, you got docked points. Good news is they don't do that anymore. They took away the negative scoring, so that just gives you even more incentive to take it if the ACT just isn't working for you. And you should also know that it's okay to ask for help. After I took it the first time, I got 2 tutors, one to help me with math and one to help me with reading and writing. And asking for help can be the smartest thing that you can do. And tutors are definitely not for dumb people. They are for smart people who realize that they're not perfect and that they might have a gap in their knowledge that they really want to fill so they can do better in a class or on a test. You should look out for your high school offering free tutors or free prep courses, because if you take a prep course, you'll get a bunch of practice exams, and that's really great because then you won't get tripped up by the wording of anything. And I'll also put a link in the description about the book that I used for the ACT and the SAT. And you should also know that unless you are in some sort of special program, vet school does not look at your ACT. If you're just a normal person applying to vet school after college, they do not care. And it's really just to get you into your undergrad that will hopefully help you get into a vet school. But you're probably wondering about these special programs. So I was never in one, but there are special programs. They're really dependent school to school. There's no really overarching pattern. But some of the schools around the country do have special programs, like Mizzou or the University of Missouri College of Veterinary Medicine. If you are an in-state and you're applying to get into their undergrad, you can, if you get a really good ACT score, you can interview to be part of this program, and they save a seat for you in vet school so long as you get a certain GRE score and a certain GPA. And there are other programs around the country that might save spots for students who are primarily dairy or swine or poultry, and yeah, that's one route you can take if you're interested in those things. So my last tip for you guys is to just enjoy high school, because college and vet school will come soon enough, and you should really just enjoy the time that you have now with your friends and family and going to dances and football games, because when you're sat here and when you're in vet school, you're gonna want to look back on those photos, and you're gonna, want to think back on those memories about the times that you stayed up way too late, and just remember to stay in the moment. Okay guys, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and a subscribe, and let me know in the comments if you like this kind of video, if you have any suggestions for future videos. Yeah, just let me know. Okay, bye!